Welcome to this Quick Take Rapid Learning module. Today's topic, reference checks, how to get feedback that predicts future performance. Susan is close to making a hiring decision for an important position in her department. She's narrowed it down to 3 finalists who seem evenly matched. Of course, they all said they were high performers, and they certainly performed well in their interviews. But how well did they actually perform in their past jobs? Susan's going to find out by calling their references. She creates a list of questions, such as, how well did Bill perform in his role? And, were you happy with Laura's ability to communicate effectively? And, how detail-oriented was Andy? After the calls, she looks over her notes. The feedback is all positive. But is Susan any closer to determining who the best candidate is? No. In this quick take, you will learn the often overlooked goal of a successful reference check, what researchers say is one of the biggest obstacles to getting truthful answers, why the way you phrase questions is the key to getting the information you need to make an informed hiring decision. Managers check references for many reasons, but the most critical goal is to ferret out information that will accurately predict how a candidate will perform if hired. That's not easy. The answers Susan got to her questions, for example, lacked precision, and, as we'll see, they were almost certainly subject to a particular type of bias that allows people to give you false information without actually intending to be untruthful. So, what's the key to conducting reference checks that give you useful information that will predict performance? Research suggests you'll get what you want if you make one simple adjustment in the way you phrase your questions. Using a numerical scale, always ask people to compare your candidate with others who performed the same job. Susan, for example, might have asked, on a scale from 1 to 10, how effective was Laura as a manager, where the best you've ever seen was a 10 and the worst a 1? One study showed the remarkable effectiveness of the numerical scale question. It was performed in a real-world office where researchers observed and tracked over 200 reference checks. The reference checks were done over the phone by a hiring manager using a standardized questionnaire. Each question asked the reference to rank their former employee on a numerical scale and included the phrase, compared with others you've known in the same position. All questions were focused on performance and tailored specifically to the demands of the job in question. 6 months after the hiring decisions were made, the researchers had managers evaluate the new employee's performance using the exact same questionnaire. Did the results match up? Yes. The answers to the numerical scale questions consistently predicted how well the candidates would perform on the job. Okay, it works. But why? According to the research, it's because questions in this format help reduce what's called leniency bias. Leniency bias, according to psychologists, causes us to think more highly of those who are closest to us, friends, family members, and former subordinates. References who are influenced by leniency bias often unconsciously gloss over people's weak points or consciously paint them in a positive light because they don't want to hurt the person's chances of getting that next job. When you ask unstructured, open-ended questions, you encourage leniency bias, allowing references to get away with vague, safe platitudes. Imagine you asked a reference, is Joe good at making sales projections? Even if Joe is just average, most references will succumb to leniency bias and say, yes, he's good at projections. But the word good is so subjective that the reference could feel he's being perfectly truthful, when at best he's blocking your attempt to get accurate, useful information. At worst, he's misleading you. Here's the way the research says you should do it. Ask the reference, compared with other sales managers you've known, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rank Joe's ability to accurately project sales? If Joe is in fact average, most references won't lie to you by giving him an 8, 9, or 10. They'll say, he's a 6, maybe a 7, which tells you exactly what you wanted to know. This type of question allows the reference to be honest. He hasn't said anything bad about Joe, but he's revealed to you in numerical code that Joe isn't good. He's just fair. If you hire him, you'll get a sales manager who's mediocre at projecting sales. If he gets similar scores for coaching, motivating, and holding reps accountable, you'll walk away from this reference check thinking, mission accomplished. Joe's not the guy for the job. Let's review what we've learned. We've identified the often overlooked goal of a successful reference check to predict how well the candidate will perform if he or she is hired. Researchers say one of the biggest obstacles to getting truthful answers is leniency bias, which causes people to exaggerate the positives and overlook the negatives of people they're close to. Phrasing your questions using a numerical scale, forcing the reference to compare your candidate's performance to others in the same job, reduces leniency bias. You get more specific, honest feedback that helps you make better decisions. Thanks for watching. Now return to the program page and take the quiz. Also, please take 15 seconds to click on the survey link and fill out an evaluation of this program.